Welcome my friends, this is Maniacal Incorporated and you join me in what is rapidly becoming a very rundown Syrupvaults. You may remember this fort in better times from my Twitch stream or from some of the previous videos that I've made, but ever since we got access to the first cavern and found a very lengthy series of tunnels leading down to the second cavern layer, we've been running into a lot of trouble. I'm finding that the dwarves aren't really working anymore. It's very difficult to get anything constructed. It's very difficult, bordering on impossible, to get anything hauled, and when they do haul things, they're generally hauling them up from the second cavern layer. And of recent, the fortress has been assailed by these little devils, creepy crawlers. And I imagine it's our cats that are getting so many of them into these food piles where they should not be because they rot food. So we have some rotten creepy crawler remains here, but I think it's in our farmer's workshop. We can see that they're actually rotting some of the cheese as well. So I have a feeling Syrupvaults is on its final legs. We're in its 10th year. Started in the year 100. I'm not too sure how much longer it can continue. I have a feeling it's maybe, I won't say a bit of a bug, but if it's a bit of an issue caused by the opening of the cavern. That's not what I want to focus on. On this video, however, it's a different bug. A bug connected to storage bins, hospitals, cloth, and strange moods. So my last video was on strange moods and how you can determine the items that your dwarves want. So here is Unib, our clothier, who has been taken by a strange mood. He's possessed, so he's not going to become a legendary clothier after this, which doesn't really matter because he's already a legendary clothier. And we can see that he wants cloth tread. He wants blocks bricks. He wants bars metal. He wants probably more bars metal. He wants gems shining. Rough colour is uncut gems. So gem shining is cut gems. Rough colour is uncut gems. And back to cloth thread. So the game is paused at the moment, but if I unpause it, we can see that he's not moving from his workstation. So there is something that is not available. There is something that he is looking for that is not available. And as I mentioned in that previous video, when they are looking for a list of items, if they hit something that they can't find, they stop. They do not move on to the next item and the next item. So I know for a fact I have blocks. I know for a fact, we'll get onto cloth in a second, that I have gems, that I have bars of metal. He's looking for something that he can't find. Now in this case, it's actually very easy to tell what he's looking for. He's in the clothes shop. He has picked up absolutely nothing, and the first item that he's going to pick up is going to be the base item of the artifact that he's going to produce. And because he has taken over a clothier shop, that means that the first item is going to be cloth. So obviously we are missing cloth. Let's go and look at our stocks. So if we come down to our cloth stocks, we have a lot, but surely we're probably missing silk, aren't we? No, there is a ton of silk cloth. There is a ton of sheep wool cloth. More wool cloth, more wool cloth. More silk, and here is plant cloth. So those are the three types of cloth. Silk, wool or yarn, and plant. So we have all of them. The next issue that we should look at is maybe he has a preference for something. Now, I said on the last video I wasn't sure where the preferences were. I think I've found them since. So if we go into personality, we can see preferences. So it is possible that your dwarf might have a preference for a specific type of rock, a specific type of metal. And if you know that you have metal, they're looking for metal and they're not moving, check their preferences to see if there's anything that they want. And this guy has a preference for alpaca wool. Now again, I know for a fact, because we've just seen it, that we have alpaca wool, so that's not our problem. Now, our problem is indeed silk. And there's a number of things that could be causing this error. I've been trying to get this sorted pretty much for the last 2 days. I've been trying to figure out what the hell is causing this issue. I have replayed and replayed and replayed from this point, trying to get it sorted. Haven't succeeded so far. But silk is our issue. We've seen that I have quite a lot of it. However, if I was to go to the clothier shop and add a task to make anything from silk, we'll say a silk cap, we here have a notification that Melville, our clothier, cancels make silk cap, needs 1 unused silk cloth. So that means that basically our dwarves are not recognizing that we have silk cloth for some reason. In the pre-Steam version of Dwarf Fortress, the most likely culprit for this issue would be the hospital. That the hospital had laid claim to every single piece of cloth that you had. And the solution in that case was generally to remove the hospital zone and to remove any coffers that you might have in the hospital, and that this should then make the silk available for use. Now, I have found that this doesn't work. The silk is still unusable, clothiers can't use it, the dwarf suffering from the strange mood won't use it, and I do know for a fact that it is silk that he's looking for, because I've played this out, and I have sent people deep, deep down into the caverns to get cobwebs, to bring them back, to make silk cloth from them, and he will run and he will pick it up, and once he has 3 pieces of it, he will then move on and gather all the rest of the stuff that he needs. So it is, in this case, definitely silk that is causing this problem. Now, I don't know how many storage bins we have with silk cloth in them. This seems to be the storage bin with the most amount of silk cloth in it, and I have seen bug reports stating that there are problems with bins which contain both cloth and thread. And I've seen this on a bug report which was made in 2012. Now, there's a number of different issues. The stockpile zone, if the stockpile zone is removed and there's a bin in there which has both thread and silk cloth, it's kind of confusing. What I tried doing was I tried creating a separate storage area just for silk cloth. I tried dumping some of the silk cloth here. I tried destroying or removing this storage zone completely. My big issue at the moment is that most of my haulers are going down into the lower caverns. I have found that by closing the lower caverns, I can actually get them to focus on tasks around the fort, such as removing all these creepy crawlers that have gotten into a ton of different areas. You can see there's a ton of food here, rotting away in our trade depot because nobody's actually hauling it anywhere, and the creepy crawlers have nearly gotten to it. But I'm finding that my haulers aren't actually doing anything at the moment. Nobody's digging anything out. It's becoming a bit of a nuisance. So I'm going to investigate next closing the caverns immediately and seeing if my haulers will then focus on moving the silk to other storage piles where it might all of a sudden become usable to the clothier. The suggestion from 2012 was to dump the items in the bin. Dump the entire bin and then undump the bin. So it's basically just try some version of that at the moment. But the only solution that I know for definite that works is to send people down into the caverns and create brand new silk cloth after deleting the hospital, because I have a feeling that as soon as cloth is made, that the hospital will take it. So just to be on the safe side, delete the hospital for the duration of these shenanigans and then create it again afterwards. I'm in a kind of a catch-22 situation. I can't close the caverns. I have a feeling the caverns are what are causing the problems, but I can't close the caverns until I actually get the spider silk, the cobwebs from here to make silk cloth. Another issue that I have with closing the caverns is we can see here we're inside the tunnels that lead down from the first cavern layer to the second cavern layer. We're at minus 33, minus 34 at the moment. This, what you're looking at now, continues all the ways down to minus 110 or 11. And I have put in a hatch to try to close off the very last single square that leads down into the main caverns, and nobody's building it. So that's a bit of an issue as well. I have hatches blocking one of the stairs, and creepy crawlers are still getting up through it. I'm not too sure how they're doing that. I think I have an idea how to deal with them. Here's our entrance to the first cavern layer. And here are all the hatches, and what I think I'm going to do, we have a bit of a corridor. I'm basically going to turn this into a cat corridor. So that's my idea for how to deal with the creepy crawlers, because they must be coming up from the basement. You might remember from my last video, I was complaining about this individual. They've returned, and they've brought back an offering to fouled water, which is written on the skin of a Thunder Titan that we killed. Somebody here wrote this account, and then this lad walked out the front door of our fort with it. The devil. Hopefully he finds his death down the caverns and we can take that book off his dead body. So there you go, just a short video to address a problem that I've been having, and silk cloth tends to cause a lot of problems for a lot of players one way or another. So I just wanted to make a video addressing that. I'm going to try my solution next, once I can get the caverns closed off. I'm finding everything is moving very slow. If I assign tasks, they're not really getting done, especially construction. It's not getting done for a very long time. So once I find a way to close off the lower caverns, I'm going to do that and see if I can get the haulers to remove the silk from the stockpile it's in, put it in a different one, or maybe dump it and see if that all of a sudden reactivates it. If it does, or if it doesn't, I will comment below and let you know if that is a way that you can deal with this issue in the future. What bugs have you been getting hit by? Or what kind of issues have you been getting hit by? This is a big one that's been kind of affecting my enjoyment of the game. I would like to continue on with Syrupvaults, but it's becoming difficult. One major issue I've seen is tasks that everyone can do, such as harvesting plants. Once you get to a certain stage, basically tasks like that shut down your fort's ability to operate. So I now have dedicated haulers, I have dedicated harvesters, and even if I try and put everyone on the fort onto smoothing stone, for example, they won't do it. It'll only be the dedicated stone smoothers. So I'm having a couple of issues like that. Have you been seeing issues like that? Or is it just me? Am I cursed? Thank you for joining me on this quick and short visit to Syrupvaults, and hopefully there will be more in the future. We have some interesting characters here that I would like to take a look at, and I hope that you will join me in future as we take a look at their lives. If the fort is still going.